The anime starts off by showing an incredibly beautiful landscape. In the middle of all that, we find a little house where we meet our protagonist, Minato. He's there with his grandfather, paying respects to the spirits. While they're doing this, Minato hears a strange noise. When he turns to look at the cookies he left on the altar, guess what? They're gone. He looks to the side and sees a little girl smiling with the cookies in her hand, and out of nowhere, she disappears. Feel the drama. The boy gets really scared and hugs his grandfather, but the old man gets all emotional because he realizes his grandson can finally see spirits. But it seems like he can only see the friendly ones. The grandfather explains that the girl's name is Arashi and she's a Zashiki Warashi. He quickly warns that Minato can see things other people can't, and that this power will definitely come in handy in the future. Now we jump forward in time and find a much older Minato. He arrives in a small village following a piece of paper with notes that someone gave him. As he's walking through the streets, a guy in a suit looks at him and comments that he's never seen the boy around there before. Finally, Minato arrives at a huge house, but it's covered by a really heavy, dark energy. He even rubs his eyes to see better and notices his vision's kind of blurry, but he doesn't really pay much attention to it. When he tries to open the door, the note in his hand suddenly starts glowing, and that bad energy surrounding the house disappears instantly. Minato gets startled and thinks it was just static electricity, but when he looks at the paper, he sees that the writing has faded away. Right then, a strong gust of wind blows the sheet away. The paper lands right on an old altar deep in the forest, and when we look inside, Kurama's eye appears. Back to Minato, the anticipation is through the roof. He's amazed because the house is huge, especially the backyard, but there's no time to waste and he immediately starts cleaning. While he's cleaning everything, he calls his mom. She tells him that it's an old property belonging to a distant relative on his father's side. The man built the house to live in after he retired. But the relative passed away and the place was left abandoned for 2 years. Minato can't believe no one bought the house, since it's huge and has a massive backyard. His mom asked him to take really good care of everything, but he keeps pressing her about why no one bought it. She has no idea. She just says that a lot of people came to check it out, but everyone ended up backing out. While they're talking, that dark energy tries to come back to the house, but ends up being blocked by the Afuda papers Minato had written earlier. Sometime later, the house is sparkling clean. Now all that's left is to tidy up the yard, but that's the gardener's job, and he's supposed to show up the next day. But when he takes a look outside, Minato notices some really beautiful flowers and starts wondering who could have left them there. And right at that moment, a mysterious animal hides in the bushes. The next day, the gardener arrives and leaves the place spotless. He suggests planting something in the empty spots to make everything look nicer, but Minato says he's only going to be there for a while, so he doesn't want to make that kind of decision on his own. The gardener is totally fine with that. That's when things start to get weird. That heavy energy touches the gardener's shoulder, and the guy suddenly feels a really intense pain. Minato asks if he's okay. The man replies that he's been feeling this pain for several days, but suddenly the wind blows and one of Minato's papers touches him. Right away, the energy disappears and the pain is gone. The gardener gets super excited, but thinks it's all really weird, since just a minute ago he couldn't even lift his arm. Minato notices that the writing on the paper has faded again. Right after, he sees a plant called Artemisia lying on the ground. He even asks if the gardener was the one who put it there, but the guy has no idea how the plant ended up there. Minato decides to keep the plant for himself. The next day, when he leaves the house, he sees that someone left raspberries at his door. Right away, he remembers the Zashiki Warashi from when he was a kid, who loved to leave little gifts for him. Thinking it's the same kind of spirit, he figures the right thing to do is to say thank you. So he goes into town to buy some things to make an offering. When he gets back home with sake and some traditional sweets, it doesn't take long for the spirit to show up. Minato gets startled when he sees it's a dog, but the animal quickly explains that it's not an ordinary dog and introduces itself as Yamagami, the mountain god of that region. He notices that Minato doesn't seem all that surprised and even comments that the boy's kinda weird. Minato apologizes and asks if he was the one who left the raspberries and the other gifts. Yamagami confirms, saying they were just simple gifts. Minato thanks him and tells him the offering is all for him. Without a second thought, the spirit starts devouring the hamburger. Minato feels relieved that he liked it and even offers him some sake. But Yami, let's call him Yami to make things easier, replies that he hasn't regained all his power yet, so he'd rather drink water. After taking a sip, he tells Minato that he was saved thanks to him and that he's really grateful. The boy's totally confused. So Yami explains that when Minato arrived at the house, he started driving out the evil beings that were taking advantage of the mountain god's weakness. He says that the creatures were destroyed and that it was quite a show, revealing that the words Minato writes have the power to eliminate those bad energies. Right then, Minato realizes why the letters on the papers were disappearing, but the conversation's interrupted by the gardener, who came back because he forgot some tools. Minato gets nervous, since Yami's standing right next to him, but he quickly notices that the gardener can't see the spirit. Minato gives Yami a little more water, and the spirit is delighted by the taste. Minato tells him it's sparkling water, and Yami loves it. Taking advantage of the moment, Minato asks why his handwriting has so much power. Yami's honest and says he has no idea. Then he asks if anyone had ever complimented the boy's handwriting before. Thinking for a moment, Minato remembers that his family used to run a hot spring inn. Back then, he carved the name of the place onto a sign, and his dad hung it at the entrance. His handwriting was way worse than it is now, but one day, a curious guest commented that the work looked amazing. That mysterious guy asked if he was the one who made it, and when Minato said yes, the man told them they should never take that sign down. He even suggested Matt make another one just like it to put up at home and order one for himself. Yami hears this and says, that guy could definitely see spirits too. Minato reveals that ever since that day, making signs for houses became a hobby, and he shows the ones he made for the new house. Yami smiles and suggests he go ahead and hang them up. As soon as both are put up, a purification barrier is instantly created. Minato asks Yami what just happened. He explains that the barrier will keep evil beings from getting close to the place. The mountain god congratulates the boy, saying he has a very rare gift and that if he trains and becomes more aware of it, he'll become even stronger. A few days go by, and while Yami is munching on some sweets, Minato notices that Yami is shining a lot more than before. Yami confirms it and says that all the credit goes to Minato. The boy thinks it's because of the food, but Yami explains that it's not. The glow comes from the respect and admiration he receives. Minato decides to test it right then and thanks Yami for visiting his house. The result? The spirit shines even brighter. Minato gets excited and comments that he really does look like a god. Yami gets all proud, but right after, Minato asks him to tone down the headlights because the light was already hurting his eyes. Meanwhile, somewhere else, we see that guy from before, whose name is Harima, exorcising several evil spirits. But one of them manages to escape. Harima chases after it desperately because he has to keep the creature from reaching the shopping center at all costs. By a twist of fate, Minato just happened to be walking down that street. The evil spirit runs straight into the boy and disintegrates instantly. Talk about irony. Harima can't believe what he just saw. The spirit was super dangerous and turned to dust in a second. He goes up to Minato to ask if he's okay, but the boy is pretty upset. The reason? His note disappeared again, and it was the shopping list he made, so he wouldn't forget anything. He tries to remember what he was supposed to buy and starts listing off random things. When he remembers he needed trash bags, the exorcist gives him directions to the place. After the boy leaves, the exorcist wonders who that young man was. Meanwhile, a strange crystal that formed after the exorcism rolls into an alley. A few more days go by, and we see Yami using his powers in Minato's backyard. When the boy wakes up and says good morning, he's left speechless by the garden. Yami created a beautiful pond and filled the place with plants. The mountain god says it was a piece of cake and reminds him that after all, he's the big boss around here. But when Minato takes a closer look, he realizes that Yami has shrunk a lot. The spirit tells him to relax, saying he'll be back to normal in no time. Days go by, and while walking down the street, Minato thinks that Yami has disappeared. When he gets home, he hears a noise and gets all excited, thinking it's his friend, but it was just a squirrel. He gets worried, hoping that Yami's okay. That's when the voice of the mountain god appears. Minato gets startled, because now the spirit is even smaller. He asks what Yami has been using so much power on. In response, Yami introduces his familiars, creatures he created himself that are a part of him. The little ones introduce themselves. The one with the blue tail is Siri, the one with the yellow tail is Asugi, and the one with the red tail is Tarika. Minato remembers he has some rice balls in his backpack and asks if they want some. The little ones dive into the food without a second thought. Later, at the end of the day, the little ones fall asleep. When Minato looks at Yami, he's pleasantly surprised. His friend is already back to his normal size. Yami quickly lets him know that someone is at the door. And guess what? It's Harina. Outside, the exorcist is shocked by a huge, mysterious energy coming from the house. He even wonders if that place is a sacred ground. Minato goes out to greet the visitor. A little nervous, Harima asks if he can come in. Once inside the house, he formally introduces himself as Saiga Harima, an exorcist from an official organization. He gets straight to the point and asks if it was Minato's power that defeated that evil spirit the other day. The boy remembers the scene and realizes he accidentally performed an exorcism. Harima says that things are bad, with a lot of evil spirits showing up and the team can't handle it all. That's why he asks if Minato can sell him some of his talismans. The boy doesn't understand anything, but Yami explains that he's talking about the papers and reminds him that Harima can't see the spirits. When it finally clicks, Minato tells him that was just the grocery list. Harima is left speechless. Not even 3 exorcists together could handle that monster, and a rookie solved the problem with a shopping list. Minato asks if he wants him to write something to help. Harima begs him to do it. Yami gives Minato a tip to put some intention into his writing, and he starts making a list of sweets. Harima nearly spits out his coffee in shock when he sees the bright light coming from the boy's pen. Can't understand how something like that could have so much power. Right after, Minato starts to feel tired, and Yami explains it's because he used too much energy. Later, when Harima's leaving, he thanks them a lot for the papers and tries to pay the boy. Minato immediately refuses, thinking it's ridiculous to charge so much for a list of sweets. Harima insists, saying that it's worth its weight in gold and that he'd still owe him. Minato keeps refusing, but Yami whispers to him to just accept it already because the guy wasn't gonna give up. In the end, the boy takes the money, but since he thinks Harima is leaving with too little, he draws a pentagram on the exorcist's hand. After all, in the movies, every self-respecting exorcist has one. Right at that moment, Harima's phone rings. It's his colleagues calling for backup because they're getting badly beaten by a really strong spirit. The creature charges straight at Harima, but here's where the surprise comes in. The pentagram that Minato drew makes the monster turn to smoke in the blink of an eye. Harima is left speechless. And back to our main character, Minato is sleeping peacefully along with the blue, the yellow, and the red, with Yami watching over their sleep. That was the end of the episode. If you made it this far, comment part 2. I'll give a heart to everyone who comments so I know who's part of the elite that follows the channel. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell because what's coming next is going to blow your mind. And hey, don't leave without watching this video that's popping up on your screen right now. The drama over there is even crazier than what you just saw. Without further ado, Ribabina says goodbye and see you next time.